Hello, and welcome to my rental property calculator spreadsheet. This spreadsheet will allow you to account for all of your costs and income when considering purchasing a rental property. The world of becoming a rental property owner can be a bit confusing for the beginner, as I found it. There are many people giving you a lot of advice, and they may not always have your best interest in mind. I have developed this spreadsheet to take into account all of your costs as well as all of your income. It'll break down your costs and show you how much the property will really cost you. It will tell you your monthly and yearly expected income as well. And it will ultimately give you your market cap rate, or your initial return on investment. Owning property is one of the best ways to make money. The benefits are numerous, and especially that your costs remain stable while your income increases each year as rental rates increase. As you pay down your mortgage for the property, your equity and therefore your profits go up. I've made this spreadsheet with inputs from many different sources, including self-help books, other rental property owners, real estate agents, and my own personal experience. I hope you find it as helpful as I did when making rental property decisions. Now I'm going to take you through using the actual spreadsheet. What I like to do, the very first thing, is to save a copy of it to make sure that I don't overwrite the original copy. So I'll create a copy, and as you can see here, I usually name them with the name of the property that I'm looking at buying. So let's pretend this one here is at 123 Main Street. Next, right in the top here, I'll also put the address. So when I refer back to these sheets, I know what address I'm looking at. So now we'll get into the meat of it, the costs. How much is this property what's the asking price for it? Let's say the asking price for my property is $200,000. I just type in the price. What are my estimated property taxes that I'm going to be paying on this unit? Let's say it's $2,400. And insurance. You're going to need insurance on your building, so how much is insurance going to cost you per year? Let's say $1,000. Now some buildings you'll pay for the utilities, other buildings the tenants will. So if you're paying the utilities, put the numbers in here. If you're not, you don't have to worry about it. So the water goes in. Let's say per year you're going to pay about $420 in water. Electricity, maybe a little bit higher. Let's say $550. Right? Gas, if you're having the place heated with natural gas or whatever, let's say $600 per year. Okay, and I've left two other spots where you can put in other expenses, other utilities that I may not have accounted for. Next, there's your mortgage details. Unless you're buying this property outright, you're going to have a mortgage on it. So how much are you going to put down on your mortgage? Now, a lot of places, they're going to tell you have to have a minimum of X number of percentage down. So whether that's 10%, 20%, wherever you are, put in the percentage that you're planning on putting down. Let's say we're putting down 10%. How much is the mortgage insurance going to cost you? Well, the mortgage insurance, every mortgage that doesn't have enough equity into it needs to have insurance. So these are companies like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in the United States, CMHC in Canada, where they put a certain price on it, on your mortgage, to cover in the event that you default on your mortgage. So it's usually given in a percentage. So let's say in our case here it's going to be 3.5%. Okay. Now when you go and you negotiate your mortgage, you've probably already done that part. You've gotten how much you can afford, and your bank has already said this is what the mortgage will be, and you have an interest rate in mind. So let's say our interest rate is going to be 4%. And how many years are we amortizing the mortgage over? And depending on the mortgage you've picked, okay, let's go 25 years. Closing costs. There's always closing costs when you're buying property. So there's legal fees, there's land transfers, there's different taxes for this and that. Every area is different. So no matter what state you're in, what province you're in, wherever you are, they're going to be different. So I can't really give you too many suggestions there. You're just going to have to kind of be up to speed with where your area's costs are. Let's say it's about $3,500. Now some people, what they'll do is instead of putting down their down payment with cash they have in hand, they may want to borrow against maybe their principal residence, maybe against their own house. And they're going to borrow the money to put down to buy the rental property. So I've built that into here. If you're not doing that, if you're putting straight cash down for your down payment, you can just leave these areas blank. Just like any area that does not pertain to you, you just leave it blank. So the line of credit interest rate, how much are they charging you for interest on that borrowed money? Let's say 5.5%. And the percentage of the down payment you're going to use for the credit line. So I'm putting down 10%, but I'm only going to use half of it from my credit line. The other half I have in cash. So I'm only going to put down half of the down payment from my credit line, from my borrowed money. So other data. Now these are the things that a lot of people don't tell you too much about. First of all, you want to take into account what's the vacancy rate in the area. Now this is really going to give you a big clue as to whether you should be purchasing rental properties in this area. If your vacancy rate is really, really high, the chances of you sitting with an empty building for a few months is quite good. And if you're in the situation where you can't afford to let it sit for very long, this may not be the property for you to buy. So what I put in here is just what is the vacancy rate in the area that you're in. Let's say it's 3%. Right? And these numbers are usually available from the rentals boards. Money to set aside for repairs. You're going to have repairs that need to get done. There's going to be a light fixture that breaks. There's going to be a door handle that needs replacing. There's going to be a hinge that breaks. You're going to need money set aside so that you can pay for these repairs, because you may not be able to do them all. You'll have to pay somebody to do them. Right? So make sure you put in enough money here. I've thrown in an estimate of $800 per unit. That's what I have researched and found to be a reasonable number. Other people who I've talked to have said that's a little high. So you can use your own experience and your own determination as to what that number should be. The other one we've put in here is the money set aside for appliance replacements. Set aside a small amount of money so that when the fridge dies or the stove dies or washer dryer, if they're included in the unit, when they die, you have some money in a fund that you can go and replace these equipment with. So those are your costs. Now the good side, the income. How many units? So I'm looking at buying a small apartment block. It has, let's just say very small, it's got three apartments in it. So rent per month. Unit number 1, how much am I charging in rent? Well, there I'm charging $980. And unit 2, I'm charging $1,050. And unit 3, I'm charging $960. And there's my prices. Okay. Also, other income. So there are other things that I might be making money off of. If I have a laundry service where they come and they put their quarters in and they pay for their laundry, I have some income from there. Some buildings charge extra for parking, so we have that accounted for here. And again, 2 other spots, if there's something that I've missed, like vending. Some apartment blocks will have vending machines in there that you'll make some money off of, things like that. So you could throw the estimated numbers into there. You're never going to know how much money you're making from laundry because it's not a fixed cost. It just depends on how much laundry they do. And of course, parking, that can be a fixed cost because you know that they're going to be paying $40 a month for their parking spot or whatever. Okay, so you can put those numbers in there. Again, if you're not making any money off laundry or parking or any of these, you can just leave them blank. Alright, so now we're going to go over to the report side of it and we're going to get all of our numbers. Okay, let's generate the report now that we've filled out on all of our information. Along the bottom here on our tabs, we just click on report and we look and see we've got everything broken down for us. So first of all, on the top here we have our expenses. So it's broken down. Told us for maintenance and repairs we've estimated $2,400. Our utilities are going to cost us $1,570, so on and so forth. All our different expenses are here. And this big one here, expenses with mortgage and credit line. What we've done is we've broken down what your mortgage is going to be. So because you're putting 10% down on a $200,000 property, your mortgage value is going to be $187,000. We said that our interest rate is 4%. Again, nothing on this page needs to be filled out. This is all reference now. You've already done all the filling out. years to pay. 25 is just broken it down and told you that your payments are going to be $987 a month. That's your mortgage payment. Okay, you're also going to have to pay an extra $61.88 for your credit line for the money that you've borrowed for the down payment. And that's just interest only. That's just your interest only payment, because the idea is you're going to use your equity in your house to refinance it and then pay off your credit line down the road. So we have our expenses. We can see what our mortgage is doing. Our income, rentals. Okay, we are expecting to bring in $35,880 a month in rental, per year in rental, minus the vacancy rate. So if the vacancy rate kicks in, we have accounted for that. So the total income, $34,000. Okay, building logistics. The cost of the building is $200,000. We have a cap rate of 13.49%. That's amazing. That's a fantastic number. That's your rate of return on investment, and of course every year that's going to go up because you're building equity, and the rental property prices, or the rental rates, are going to go up. So that's really good numbers. So your net operating income is $26,000. So monthly cash flow is $22,486.63. So that's what you're expecting to get as income. After expenses, you'll expect to get $1,199, so almost $1,200 a month, $14,000 a year with this property. So we've also broken this down here too, because a lot of places, a lot of research has gone in and said, you know, if you're looking for a really good cap rate of 8%, this is what you should be bidding on the property. If you're looking for 7 or for 6.5. Put these numbers in here because they're generally what people are expecting. A 10 cap rate is phenomenal. A 13 is unheard of. So just put these suggestions in here. So if you were looking at buying a property and you thought the price of it was a little high, these can help you out here. You'll know, hey, if this was, I'm looking for an 8 cap rate, this is what my bid price on the property should have been. So you can go in and make a counteroffer. So maybe this building, they were asking $350,000. You could walk in there and say, well, you know what, I only want to give you $337, because you now know that will give you an 8 cap rate with all of the expenses taken into account. Alright, so there you go. The middle part is just a reiteration of what we did on the data entry side. It just gives us a summary of all those other incomes and expenses that we had. So there's all your numbers that you'll need, and hopefully you'll find this helpful. Thank you for watching.